Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/campaign to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Being a marketer's no sweat. You just have to manage dozens of channels, launch hundreds of campaigns, score thousands of leads, and okay, fine, it's a lot of sweat. Unless you have HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools to help you do all that and more. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Don't Blame Me. We're still in the quarantine.
What
a
are those
time.
things behind you?
Wow, such a great actor. It's like we haven't already talked about it. I haven't been talking this whole time. These are my birthday balloons. If you can still see them, they are pretty
Slowly dying.
Yeah. So Monts got me ones that said, like, gold ones that said Illy, I-L-Y, and the Y had a hole in it.
I have
Deflated.
never heard anybody pronounce every
Illy?
letter.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's all we say. Illy, illy, illy. It's like me and Jerry and Sydney too. It's like it's our word. But so the Y already deflated, so it's been like ill for since my birthday.
Sick.
And then Casey dropped me off the llama one because I love llamas. And then Lily dropped
This is a new fact that I've learned about you today.
Oh, I love them. I love them. Llamas, alpacas, very cute. Also love narwhals. Those are my favorite animal because they don't look real. You're like, how is this like literally like? And beluga whales are up there too. Fucking cute. And so Lily dropped off a balloon that says you're special, but she crossed it out and wrote not in it. You're not special. And then she also got me a JoJo Siwa balloon. So and all of those balloons were tied to rotisserie chickens. Neither of them spoke to each other, but they both brought me balloons with rotisserie chickens. So I'm saving them because why are they in here? Oh, Matsu, I think he was like vacuuming or something. That's a great thing about it.
The balloons got scared and they ran to the room.
No, he was just trying to get them the fuck out of the way. But that's the nice thing about having a dust mite allergy is I never have to be the one to vacuum or dust or sweep. So
Beautiful.
he just
Love
gets
it.
to do it. Love it. Big fan. How is unpacking going still?
Okay, so I bought this shelf, this metal silver shelf, and it's ugly, which I knew it was going to be. But I was like, I'm going to paint it rose gold. So I started, but I didn't buy enough paint. So I've got to buy way more. There's just one shelf and then 4 poles that are done.
Okay, cute.
So yeah, that's where I am. So
Are you painting by hand or spray painting?
No, spray painting.
Nice. I saw a thing on TikTok, if it would be helpful for you, that it's like this thing that attaches to the top of a spray paint can. And instead of like pressing it down, like, you know, you have to be watching the video to understand this. Instead of pressing it down like you normally would,
yeah.
it's kind of
like
like a
blast it.
It's kind of like a gun in a way that like, and it has a handle. So it's like much easier. And you just like stick it on top of spray paint cans. But I saved it if you'd like me to send it to you.
I know exactly what you're talking about because as I was doing it, I was thinking about it. But because it's a wire, I have to be very meticulous about going line by line.
Okay.
So it would actually waste more paint.
Totally.
Yeah. But yes,
very
as I was
interesting.
doing it, I was thinking about it.
Where are you going to put the shelves?
Over here.
For sure. Off camera. Off camera. Cute. I'm excited to see.
I mean,
once
it's
all
like,
done.
like part of it, the parts that paint it is up already.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because it's the kind that just like stacks on top of each other.
Where'd you get it?
IKEA.
Oh, I was going to say Wayfair.
Fuck no.
Oh wait, also this is a dark turn, but did you see it was trending on Twitter, so I'm sure because our trending pages are virtually the same, about how the forest fires in like Northern California, so many of the inmates are out with COVID that they're like so understaffed.
Yeah.
If listeners, watchers of the podcast, if you guys have not looked into, I mean, if you haven't looked into like for-profit prison system in the United States, even if you're not from the States, I would like look into it because it's disgusting.
Slavery's still very real.
Oh my God. When it comes and like you cannot fucking deny when you look at the fact that, oh, they're fighting fires for $3 an hour. $3.
And then once they're like out of prison, they can't become firefighters.
And like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what the absolute fuck? Like, it's, oh God. And like, just the way that like the trending article was like written was like in a way about like, oh, look how bad COVID is. And I'm like, why is this even a fucking thing? Like, this is not a COVID issue. Like, this is like, no, like this is like an inhumane, like morally like fucking corrupt and disgusting thing that's happening that like the rest of like everything is affected by COVID, but like it's not a COVID fucking problem.
No,
this is our own fucking problem that we created.
Problem. It's a racism problem. It's a lot of problems built up where like COVID is like it's done with a lot of things, has opened eyes to other issues, which I already knew this was an issue when I didn't learn about this till last year, though, that a lot of incarcerated people are the ones that were fighting fires. And I was disgusted then and even more so now.
No, I didn't learn about it until last year, too, in the big fires that were here. Because like I knew about like I think the thing that's like more publicized is like jobs within prisons and that kind of stuff. And then like, like companies that use prison labor, but never until there was those big fires here, I had never known about that. And then at the same time I learned that, at the same time I learned like, oh, and you can't be a firefighter afterwards. And I was like, because I'd never heard of that, because like it's incredibly hard to get a job after you've been in jail and you're convicted. And there's like a couple of, and we've had calls about like people who like dated like someone and like, oh, like getting a job back out of it. And there's like a very short list of things I knew off the top of my head, and firefighter wasn't one of them. And I was like, oh, for sure. So fucked.
Yeah.
America's fucked. This is Don't Blame Me. It's an advice podcast. If you guys want to call in for an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. An international listener, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. And let's get into the calls.
What is the show?
Oh, it's an advice show. You call in, you leave us voicemails, you ask for our advice, and then we, as the amazing, intellectual, insightful prophets we are. Oh, and Melissa's also an alien. So that's, you've got to.
What are you talking about?
What?
Huh?
Oh, fuck, you're frozen now. That was good, though. If people, like, if it was people were seeing the Zoom feed, like, between you and I, it was very much like, what? And then you froze, and it literally was like a glitch in the simulation.
Yeah.
Oh, so
love
good.
it.
Okay, should we get into the first one?
Let's do it.
Hi, Meghan and Melisa. I'm 23. My fiance is 24, and we've been together for 4 years. We just got engaged this month, and one conversation that's always come up for us, but especially now that we're engaged, is what our last name is going to be when we get married. He likes his last name, and I love it. It's how I met him, how I've always known him for the last 4 years. So it just seems simple that will be our last name. But his mom wants him to change it because he has his dad's last name, who's basically done nothing for him his entire life. This doesn't bother my fiance. He has a great relationship with his grandparents and his stepbrother on his dad's side. So that's his family too. But his mom thinks that he should take her husband's name, so his stepdad, who came into his life when he was already like 12, and they have the most awkward non-relationship. But she thinks since she raised him and her husband has supported him financially, and those are his other siblings' last names, he should do this. The irony is that his stepdad's family is even more problematic than his dad's family, and I absolutely do not want to be associated with them. My thing is, I feel like this is creating a problem that has never really been there, because this has been his name for 24 years, and it just has the potential to piss off way too many people, I feel like, for no reason. The fiance thinks it would be disrespectful to his grandparents and his brother on his dad's side, but his mom can't come to grips with her grandchildren potentially having the same last name as my fiance's dad. I really love his mom, and we have a good relationship, but she's very emotionally invested in this topic, understandably. And I don't really know how to talk about it when it comes up, because she gets really heated about it, which I totally understand, especially because one of the main reasons I care is that I really don't like her husband, and that's a totally different topic. I don't want to have his last name, and I can't exactly tell her that. My fiance also loves his mom, and he has a hard time standing up to her, but he basically doesn't really care either way, as long as he's not taking his stepdad's last name, which is what his mom wants. I come from a very drama-free family, so I'm not really sure how to act. I know that him taking my last name is an option, but my last name is really boring, and it's just not my favorite option, and I do want to have the same last name as him. I just need advice on whether I should just try to stop caring. How do I talk about it when she brings it up again? Any advice will help. Thanks. Bye.
What's in a name? Would a rose by any other name smell just as sweet?
Beautiful. And
William
that's it.
Shakespeare.
This is tricky.
I don't think it's tricky at all.
Oh, I mean, I think the factoring in when you care about other people's opinions and like other people's like feelings, that's what makes it trick. You know what I mean? Like you guys all obviously care and don't want to hurt anybody. But I think you just tell her to suck it up.
The thing is, if she cared this much, why didn't she have her son's name changed when she got married? It's too late. This is not the time.
No, he's had this job.
Name, like the caller said, he's had this name for 24 years. And then you have the last 12 to change his name, or before he turned 18 or whatever. Like, she had the power to do this before. Now, because her potential grandchildren may be coming along with the same last name, it's the mother-in-law's issue. It's not their issue.
Well, I think you guys just need to reclaim the name in that sense. I think I would say like a good if you want like a nice gesture a couple years down the road, have one of your kids' middle names be her maiden name, her maiden last name, or something like that. But I think like, yes, it's ridiculous to have two people change their names for this. And like, he has as much as it's her ex-husband, it's also his dad. So like that, like one of those relationships doesn't outweigh the other. So like, because she has a bad relationship with like her ex doesn't mean that dictates how what relationship her son is going to have with his father.
Yeah. But it seems like the father may not be in the picture. It's the loyalty to the grandparents and other relatives.
But like the animosity there, like she might have this like association with that name, but like it's different because it's not what she's been known as forever. So I'm sure for him, like as somebody who I have a hyphenated last name, and if you've read my book, I have lots of family problems, and the last name that I go by is the one that is the most problematic of my family. But like, I don't think of that because it's my name. Like, it's not their name, it's mine, because that's the only name that I had. That's the name that I was born with. Like, that's it. And I think that there is like a power in reclaiming that. And I would think, if anything, having grandchildren and that have that different last name or whatever, like, I think that would be like a fresh start and a new association with that name. But I just can't foresee, like you said, if this hasn't been like something that she wanted done immediately 12 years ago, also when he was a minor and she could have just done it for him.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, it's too late.
It's too late
now. Yeah. And it's literally just a name. And I think if you tell her like this is the name, like for him, like he needs to put his foot down and say like, this is the name that I've always had. And like, I love you so much. And like, you are my mom. And this it like that name I don't have that same tie to that last name. And like, this is the name that I grew up with and you might associate with him, but like, how about you associate it with me instead? Associate with me instead of my dad. And that's how I associate it. That's how like my fiance associates it with me. She doesn't associate it with my dad. And when we have kids, those are going to be our kids. Like work on that. And I think just like put your foot down, because I get why you wouldn't want to tell her that like, oh, I fucking hate like the stepdad, or like I'm not about him or his family. So I think if you can just like, you don't need even like a real reason. You can just say no. And so I think if you just put your foot down, and then a couple years down the road, if you guys have kids and you want to name one with her maiden last name or something, go for it. But it's just such a weird hill to die on.
Yeah. It's too late.
Too late. In the words of JoJo, it's just too little too late, a little too wrong. And I fucking love her. She makes bops.
Agree.
Okay, should we go on to the next?
Yeah.
Dear Meghan and Melisa, I hope you can understand me, as English isn't my first language. I'm in my early 30s, so naturally all my girlfriends have 1, 2, or 3 kids. I personally love kids, but I don't want any for myself. Now, my best friend has changed since she became a mom a few years ago, which I guess is normal because my other friends has as well, but hers is more extreme. She says she's finding herself and getting closer to her true self. And I've known her for 25 years, and her finding herself is very far from the girl I know and love. This includes being a mom before anything else. She's considering anti-vaccining, sharing very stereotypical and cringy inspirational quotes with sunsets in the background on Facebook. And the newest addition is that institutions traumatize our children, and to work around this, she has quit her job to stay with them full time. Which is also fine, but her husband makes less than her. So if this was truly for them, I guess she would work and he would stay at home. I really suspect that this is about her more than the children. Her texts include very much me, I, myself, me. I've never commented on my friends' parenting, even if I disagree with them, because, well, I'm not living their lives and I assume they make the right decisions. And also the few times I have had an input, I've been told that I won't know until I become a mom myself, which I never will. So to this best friend, I've asked her how her husband is feeling, because she doesn't mention him in all of this. I would personally be upset if my partner one day announced that they quit their job to find themselves, because that would also affect me. I would have to work harder. We would have to not go on holidays and so on. She replied, he has a hard time being the only provider, but I feel so relieved not working, and I feel that I am getting closer to myself. So, should I challenge her? What about her pension when she isn't working? She says they will have to take a huge loan. Is he the only one who's going to pay off a shared loan? I used to help children who had eating disorders, and a lot of them actually had their self-harming problems because they were all their parents had. They didn't care about their jobs. They didn't see their friends. They didn't have any hobbies. So they put all the responsibility of their happiness on their children. Is it a good friend move to confront her about these things, including that she might be pushing her husband away? Or is this me being selfish and missing the friend I used to have instead of accepting the choices she's making now? Can I put a friendship on hold? What do I do?
Oh my God, I hate this so much.
This is very layered.
Yeah.
But I think there's 2 big things here. One, I think that you've outgrown this relationship. And then 2, the decisions that she's making isn't your business.
Yeah. And I don't think the decisions she's making are rational, like, to be honest. Like, the institution, like, does she mean school?
Yeah, that's what I think.
So going on the path of like anti-vaxxing institutions, it sounds like a government is trying to kill us sort of a thing, which is prevalent in people who have psychological like issues, and whether it's like psychosis or schizophrenia or lots of other kind of psychological struggles like that. And it can be hard to like watch someone kind of get into like a paranoid sort of state, or just like but then there's also the other side of it where a lot of people buy into that stuff who frankly aren't that intelligent, and it empowers them and makes them feel smart, and that's why they like that shit, you know? And so I think you're right though. Like, you've grown out of this friendship and you are missing your old friendship, and I think that you have concern for her, like that this is a really like about her. And I think if you thought her kids were in danger or in like harm's way, like physically, emotionally, like if you were concerned about that, then I definitely think maintaining not the same closeness of a friendship, but enough that you don't feel like you're walking away and abandoning like potentially like children who need you, or who are in need, who could potentially be in need. But I think if it's just about her and that, then I think you can take a break from the friendship. But I think the most important thing is that it's when you take a break from it, really reflect on it as it might not be a phase. Like, this just might be who she's becoming, and the break might be permanent. And so it can be hard when you take a break from someone or something, because a break usually means that you're going to come back to it. And I think that we can romanticize people when we're away from them. But I think if you can say that you're going to like phase out, and then if things change with her, or she needs you, or her kids need you, and all of that you'll always be there. But not, you can always hope that it's a phase, but I wouldn't go into it thinking that it is that. Like, I would think of it as a friendship breakup that has the possibility, if things change, you guys could rekindle that. But saying any of the stuff to her is just it's not going to work, and it's not going to go over well. And I think the best thing that you can do is just take that break, and then if something happens, good or bad, you can just kind of step in and offer your help and be there. But it's bad decision making. Well, should we get into the next call?
Hi, Meghan and Melisa. Love the podcast. So I'm 25. I'm an Aries, and I need your guys' advice or words of wisdom, whatever, because I got myself into a situation that is pretty annoying to me right now. So about a month ago, I started dating or seeing, I don't know, one of my closest and oldest guy friends. So we've known each other for about 20 years now, and it's always been a little flirty over the past couple months at least. And I know that when we were like 15 or so, he had like a crush on me and asked me out, but back then I just didn't understand or get it. I don't know. I was young and naive. But so about a month ago, I went camping with his family, actually. And the weekend after that, we both got super drunk and then had sex. And after that, it kind of just rolled into this whole thing where we now basically see each other like at least 3 times a week. I always sleep over at his house. We also hang out during the day. It's always super fun. We laugh a lot. I've met his friends that are like outside of our friend group, and apparently like the guys and even his girl best friend like me, like he told me that. And yeah, it's just like overall a good time. And it's pretty much like he would always text me like the good morning and good night text, and he told me that he really likes me and thinks I'm funny and all that. And everything would turn into like kind of a relationship if he was not in love with his coworker, who is actually in a lesbian relationship though. And so she's been in this relationship for, I think, 3 years, and she says that she's still in love with her girlfriend, but she'll also like text my guy all the time and just like flirt with him and like talk about all of these super personal, intimate things. And so now he's like, or has been apparently for a couple of years, super in love with her and totally thinks that she's the girl for him, even though she day by day like chooses her girlfriend over him, right? And so all of his actual friends and like his girl best friend, like they all don't like her. We all think that she's just like not a nice person for playing both of them, like my guy and the girlfriend. But now I'm seeing him and it's just super weird because I think I'm honestly starting to really, really like him and I just don't know what to do. So please help me.
My first question is, does the coworker date men? Because saying that she's in a lesbian, like,
Right.
saying
Is she
she's in
bisexual or
or
queer
is she
or whatever?
pansexual? Like,
yeah.
does she, and like not even necessarily does she identify as anything, but like does she date men?
Does she find men attractive? And...
Yeah. Like, does she date men and women? Because I think, I don't know. I think because
it could be like she just sees him as a friend and she's sharing, and her flirting is just like her being friendly.
And there's huge issue with fetishizing women and like women and women together, and like especially in the lesbian community of like that it's invalidating to her relation. Like I would just think the fact that you mentioned that it's a quote unquote lesbian relationship, and that like she's still flirting with him, it just comes across as invalidating that relationship.
Right. But also like does he really think that she's the one for him, or is it just the fact that she's unattainable?
Yeah. And what is, like you said, what's the flirting? Like, have we seen these like texts have like what is he reading into these things? And like, is she just being friendly? And like, I just think like villainizing her. I think if we want to I don't know why we need to know what the gender of the person that she was dating is. I don't think we need to know that she's in a lesbian relationship. Like, I don't think that
she's in a relationship.
Yeah. So that in itself is a red flag to me, that's like, she is the villain and she is in a lesbian relationship, but she's like leading my boyfriend, like, or leading this guy on, and like everybody dislikes her for doing this or whatever. I just don't think there's a reason we need to know that I
think for us though, like it's good to know because
no, totally,
it could just be like a friendship. Like she just sees him as a friend. That's it, period. And he's reading more into the situation. And is she aware that he has feelings for her?
Mm-hmm. Because we need to know what's being said. Because again, if it's just like friendship stuff and her sharing like intimate personal things, like I share that with my friends. Like, and also, if anything, you call her and like you mentioned that he's your like one of your best guy friends. And you also mentioned he has another like close female friend. Like you guys are you were close with him as a guy first. And so like, is there a part of you that feels like there's no way that it could be platonic? Because look, you guys are fucking now. Yeah. And is that what it is in that sense, that like it doesn't feel like, do you have kind of like I don't even know what the politically correct term, but like, you know, like an incestual friend group, like a friend group who all hooks up with each other. And so then does it feel like weird that he would just have this, like, does he feel like, oh, my female friends and I, like, it's always more like flirtatious? But if she's like fully like, I don't like the term like leading someone on, but if she's like fully intentionally like misleading him and saying like, oh, if I hadn't met my girlfriend, like I would totally want to date you, or like I always think about fucking you, like if she's saying stuff like that, then yeah, he needs to like put a stop. I mean, no, you just need to bounce and be like, okay, I'm out. But if it's,
I mean, I think you still need to be out, like, because he's not into you like he's into this other girl. Why would you want to play second fiddle to somebody?
Yeah.
You should always be somebody's first choice.
And this one might sting a little bit, but he knows you better and he's still picking this other girl. Like he's known you for like, you guys have been
20
friends since you were
years.
kids.
Yeah.
And you are in the same friend group and all of that. Like, and he's still holding out for someone who he's never been with and like that he just has like a crush on. And that isn't an indicator of how much he likes her. It's just an indicator of like he's not as into you, which sucks to say, but like I think it's totally possible for friends to date, and that's how I've like dated like most of my relationships. But as soon as like as soon as like a friend and I started hooking up or whatever, it was like, oh yeah, any of the girls that you met after, or the guys that I met after, like can't stack up to someone who I've known for my whole fucking life, who like then we sleep together and it's like we already had this basis of friendship, we already got along so well, and now we add like the sexual romantic part of it. The fact that he's still going to this other person is just, it's not it. And you sound like you're starting to fall for him, so I would dip now. Yeah.
Especially if you want to, and if you are able to keep your friendship intact, like stop it now, because it's gonna end either like you're gonna get your heart broken regardless, because he's still gonna, that other woman is always gonna be the what if in the back of his mind. Yeah, always.
And I think there's a level of care that needs to go in when, because she's 24, when hooking up with your friends, like in high school. Like my high school boyfriend and I, before we got together, we made out at parties all the time, like just drunk, and then we would never talk about it again. But or like you'd like, like sleep with your friends and then like like whatever, and it was kind of just like a who cares sort of thing. But the older that I got, Monts and I were friends, and like it became, there's so much more thought put into it, because that thought is the respecting of your friendship and acknowledging like I don't want to lose this kind of friendship. And like it is a different mentality when you're in high school and college, because like it's just a different mindset and how everybody interacts with each other. It's just different. And then when you become an adult and you have those like lifelong adult friendships, just kind of like willy-nilly like hooking up with each other and then not really having this be just kind of this like weird limbo thing, it does not, he's not going to come around. Like this is he is telling you how he feels, and what he feels is he likes fucking you and he thinks you're great and enjoys being your friend, and he also enjoys fucking you, but he like is that the other girl is who he wants to be with.
Yeah.
And that's all there is to it. And like even if like regardless of what she's doing, that doesn't matter. Like this is about him. You're not dating her. This isn't about the other girl at all. Even if she was misleading him, that doesn't matter. Like,
no, this is about you two.
If he liked you and wanted to be with you, he would be with you, and it's nobody else's fault or responsibility, or it's nobody else's actions or anything that would change that at all.
I agree.
Okay, guys, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Okay, guys, we are back from our break, and let's get into the next call.
So I am 21 in this situation, and my ex is 22, and we're both Aries. So what happened was that last week he broke up with me on a Friday. It has now been 3 days later. I'm very much still mourning and grieving, but the issue is that it all happened out of nowhere, and I'm struggling to believe his reasonings for the breakup. So, the entire time last week, everything was completely normal. There were so many I love yous and verbal affirmations and heart emojis. Even the day before everything had happened, where he broke up with me, I sent him like, hey, I'm really looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. It's going to be so fun, you know, hanging out again. And he was like, yeah, likewise, of course. And even the night before, like, we always text each other goodbye, or sorry, not goodbye, good night. And he sent me a voice memo, and he said, I love you like 2 times in it. And it was just a very like sweet and cute voice memo, so I kept it. And the next day rolls around and it's a very normal day again, you know, nothing much to comment on there. And what I realized happening was that, yeah, I was just getting ready and everything. And he was at the gym, and he out of nowhere was like, hey, can I stop by your house really quick? And I was like, sure, but why? And he said, it was better to be said in person, and I'll be there in 20 minutes. So I had 20 minutes to shift my perspective from, yo, this guy could be the one that like I can marry. I definitely see a future with this guy. We've been working towards the future. You have that common goal. And he comes over and he breaks up with me, and his reasoning was that he doesn't love me anymore. And I'm struggling to believe that, because every part of his behavior said that he loves me still. Like, I asked him, why, if that's true, then why were you giving me so many verbal affirmations? Why were we making plans for the future? I was supposed to be hanging out with him this week. It was his plan. And he just told me that it was all a lie, and he was just breaking down and sobbing. And I'm sorry, I just really have a hard time believing his reasoning. And I guess I would just like you guys to tell me about what you think of all of this, because it truly did come out of nowhere. And even towards the bitter end, him and I were just hugging and laughing. And at one point I kissed his cheek, and he just smiled back at me, and we were holding hands. And I kissed his hand, and he kissed mine. And I asked him how much of the relationship was real, and he said all of it. So very clearly my issue here is that he seems so conflicted. So I guess I'm looking for guidance. I know that you guys can't read his mind, but what do you think is going to happen with him?
I mean, this really sucks. Some people have a really hard time communicating their feelings in the moment, and this story is so common of people who feel completely blindsided by it, and it's just people who aren't really comfortable communicating that kind of loss of emotion in the process of it, and they're trying and compensating for it and acting and kind of putting on a front, and then it gets to a point where they can't do that anymore. And like, it's hard, because I think our automatic instinct when we start to lose feelings for someone is we don't want to, like, we want to still like love them, and we want to still be with them, and so we try. And like, that's every fucking breakup. It's like, oh, we're trying to pretend that everything's fine, especially when it's one-sided. And I think he might have just done a good job at that, and it got to be too much for him. Or he joined a cult, or he has another girlfriend or a wife, or
he
something.
Also, or he has been feeling these things for a while and has just been going through the motions. And he thought that it might have been just like a temporary thing and he could work through it. And he got to a point where he couldn't.
Mm-hmm. Because I think the talking about the future thing, like, logically, it's hard when you do have those feelings for someone prior, and you're like, well, maybe if I just keep going along, it'll work. Mm-hmm. And like, maybe like I do logically want to spend the rest of my life with this person, but like my feelings aren't matching up to this side of my brain. And I'm like, you get married to those feelings that you once had. And that's why we hold on to relationships a lot of the time longer
than they should, past the time that they've run its course.
So
you think it can change. You think it's just like a passing feeling that, you know, today I just feel off. And I think it's more of him than anything. Like, you can't take responsibility for anything. You shouldn't feel like any of this is your fault. It's neither of your faults. Just like the feelings went away. And I know it's hard for you to accept and move on, but if you keep holding on to those feelings, you're going to get into that same rut that he got into, where you think that things are going to change. He's going to make a full circle. He was just confused. He's still in love with me, which like he very much will still like have like deep feelings for you, but it's just not love. That's not where he is anymore.
And who knows, maybe like him saying like, oh, all of like the feelings that he felt like if he's like was grappling with this, sometimes people can be a little more curt and feel a little more cruel in a breakup because they want you to not be. It's like the same thing when people like try and get you to break up with them. And so I think like for you, it's not adding up. And I think his goal with all of this was to really make sure it was like a clean break. And I think that kind of backfired in the sense because like it's making you feel like, well, there at some point you did still have those feelings for me. Like, like this was a process or whatever. And it can be really hard to sit with it and recognize that in all of these, in the moments of like how, whenever his feelings started to fade or change for you, that you didn't know. And that you were in those moments and like seeing them as these like really sweet, romantic and like really happy, positive things. And it's heartbreaking to then recognize that that wasn't the case for him. And so I think at the end of the day, the reason why he broke up with you, I know you think it matters, but it doesn't. It's kind of like closure in this sense that it's like, well, you want to find the reason so you can like, gotcha, aha, like you said, like, no, you still love me, like we're still going to be together in that sense. And so I think if he's not ready or comfortable to like really be honest and talk about it in a sense that like maybe there is more to it, but like at the end of the day that he doesn't want to be in a relationship with you right now, and regardless of that reason, you have to respect his wishes with that. And
you've got to accept what he said. Like you because you're not going to be able to heal or move on if you still think that like he was lying about being in love with you.
Yeah,
like,
we can
not being in love with you, I mean.
And we can read into someone's body language or like all of that kind of stuff, but like we have to take what people say as the fact and the truth. And like when people say how they feel or what they want, we don't get to justify it or question it based on previous stuff. Like I'm a big advocate of taking things at face value when people say them because I'm a big fan of communication. And it might feel like it would make more sense and make it easier for you to get over if you understood everything why and like he was more truthful. But at the end of the day, it's his truth. You're never going to know if he is being 100% totally honest. And also, he doesn't have to tell you that. And I think the more you can detach yourself from anything that he can do or say that will give you like permission or make you feel ready and comfortable to move on, you just have to take that on your own. Because if we put that kind of power in other people's hands, like for our own lives, we will always end up disappointed.
Yeah.
But this sucks. This fully sucks. But sending you happy, moving on, positive thoughts, and you know, our phone is open if you want to give us a call back and give us some more an update or anything if you feel ready or comfortable. But also I know breakups are tough, so
yeah, and you probably need a little bit of time to process this, so let us know.
Sending you love.
Hi, Megan and Melissa. I'm going to try and keep this short without sparing any like big details. But basically, so my mom passed away a year ago, last July, and we just hit a year. And I'm an immigrant. She was an immigrant. And I currently am living with my stepdad, the man who she married to come live here. We moved out of the house that we lived in with my mom, and we are living in a duplex while he's building a house. So, he gave me a room there, all that kind of stuff, whatever. Anyways, for reference, I'm 21 and he's in his 50s. So I started realizing last night, he was like, oh, I'm just gonna go out or whatever, and he was all dressed up, and he left at 3, and he didn't come back until 10:30, which is strange. And I was texting my boyfriend, and he was like, well, maybe it's a work dinner or something. I'm like, no, he's not a late night person, whatever. And then today I was with a friend, and we were leaving the house, and he changed his clothes. And he's like, yeah, I'm just going to go drop off the rent check. I was like, okay, cool. He'll be back home when I get back home, because we were going shopping to get us one food. Anyways, and I've been back home for 3 hours now, and he's not here. And so I feel like he's starting to date again. I don't really know how I feel about it, just because, we're not very close. So if he were to, seriously start dating, I don't know, where I would go or what I would do or what my relationship with his family would be like, because I'm closer to some of his family members than I am him. And, a few weeks ago, he asked me to take pictures of him for his mom, which is, really weird. He got, dressed up and, got on his bike because he likes cycling and stuff. And he's like, yeah, I'm just saying it to my mom, and my dumbass didn't think of anything. And now I'm putting it all together, and he's definitely dating. I don't know, if this is normal to feel I'm mad at him, because I feel this is so fucking awful, but I feel he should still be, grieving and not dating. And, I was at my boyfriend's house. I came back and my bedroom door was closed. All the little things that I had left out in the living room and stuff were just thrown on my bed. So he obviously had people over. And, he doesn't have any friends, by the way, so it's not like he had, a party. I don't really know what I'm asking for. I guess I just want to know, is this normal, and if other people have dealt with it, and, what to do, because he hasn't said anything about it. And people keep telling me to bring it up, but like I said, we're not very close. So it's kind of uncomfortable. Yeah, it's weird. And I'm about to go on a road trip with him to help his oldest daughter, who's 24, move out of her apartment. And it's just, uncomfortable. I don't know. Please help me. Okay. Thanks. Love you guys. Bye.
I can't speak from personal I can't speak from personal experience in this specific case, but I do have friends who have lost their parents, and then their biological parents have moved on very fast or started dating fast. And it's been super, super fucking hard for them. The thing with grief is everybody grieves differently.
Mm-hmm.
And the process for everyone is so super different. And I don't know if I've never lost somebody in my someone in my life who I was incredibly close to. I've lost family members and friends, but no one who's been so integral to my daily life. But I can imagine that I don't know if I would ever think that someone is if I were you and lost you lost your mom, I don't know if I would think that anyone was grieving enough. When you love someone so much and that loss is so huge for you, nothing can ever feel the right amount, because it's just too great of a loss for you to comprehend how someone else could handle it differently. And that's not a knock on you at all, or a knock on him. But I think part of if you guys aren't that close, I don't know how much, or if it's even something you'd want to do. But if you guys have talked about her and you've talked about the grief and what you're both going through, and maybe if you are comfortable doing that with him and talking about it, you might see that maybe he's coming from it from a place of I'm so fucking lonely, and I just can't foresee, I just need to do that. I don't know what else to do. And it's not coming from I've moved on and I'm fine kind of a way, that it's more of or maybe your mom had some wishes for him that she really wanted, hey, a year after, you have to promise me you'll go on a date. You have to And who knows, maybe he's doing like a grief support group, or he's just trying to get himself back out there. And if he doesn't have friends, maybe the only way he really knows how to move on is romantically, which I also have, I know that well, of people who that's the only tie that they have to a closeness in a relationship. And it comes at the expense of like kind of looking a little like icky and gross timing to a lot of other people, but that's the only way that they know how to have relationships.
Yeah, you can't put, like you were saying, you don't know how he's grieving. You can't put a timestamp on how long somebody can grieve. And I think you may be thinking of it in a way that he's replacing your mom, and it doesn't have to be like that. It's just like he probably has like a hole in his heart, and it's not like he's not trying to fill it with somebody else. He's just needing like some type of comfort or support or a companion. Like he needs, or he wants friends, you know, like it cannot be like a romantic thing. It could be like he just wants somebody to hang out and talk with.
And I think I would really urge you to talk to him about it, because I think like when you say things like, well, what's that going to happen for me? Like I live with him, like it doesn't, I think those are totally like valid feelings that you would feel from this. But I would have a conversation with him and just be like, and tell him, say honestly, and just be like, I know we're not like that close. And I know that like we're now in this situation where like we're living together, and I like really appreciate it. And if you want to get to know him more, and like let him know that like I want to get to know you more. And like it's, to be honest, it's been kind of hard because I feel like I've noticed that you, I think, are going on dates, and like to be transparent, like it's really made me feel that like you're moving on too fast, but like I can't put that judgment on you. So like I just want to talk and like understand where we both are in this. And I have this fear that if you move on, that you're going to kick me out and I'm going to have nowhere to go and all of that. Because I think as much as those are thoughts that I think anyone would kind of think in that situation, I think they'll be so easily quelled by him being like, oh no, that would not going to do that to you at all. Like, I think you guys both are just doing your own thing and not recognizing that like both of your actions, that it affects each other.
Yeah. You guys need to talk and maybe even go to like grievance counseling together.
Yeah, because you both share in this loss, and it might feel a little weird because you guys aren't that close, but you do have this thing, and it's hard because even like you said, you're like, I like feel bad, like I'm mad at him, but I don't even really know him that well. It's like you guys have this trauma that's connected you. And so you might not be like relationship close wise, but you do have this essentially like this trauma bond. And so you both do have the ability to really hurt each other, because even though it might not seem like you're close, you have this thing, this common thing that ties you together. So yeah, I would have a conversation. Update time. Oh, baby.
Oh, baby.
Who is the update from?
This is from episode 9 from season 6. The gal had hoes in different area codes. One guy in Hawaii, another guy in the other place she was in. So she was with her boyfriend, but still hooking up with a guy that she used to hook up with before.
Was this a stripper?
Yes.
Love it.
Hi guys, this is an update. I'm calling back from the episode. I don't know the seasons or the episode numbers because I don't see them anymore, but it was the latest episode that is titled "My Boyfriend is Jealous of My Sex Toy." I'm the girl who was cheating on these two guys. One of them being my boyfriend living in Hawaii, the other one being my fuck buddy living in California. I also live in California. Yes, Melissa was right. I do travel from LA to Hawaii. It is a quick flight. Anyway,
I have a great update, some great news for you guys. I am in therapy, and my therapist and I have discussed all of these things and worked all these things out, and I realized that I wasn't being aware of my own cheating, and I just thought it was okay and dismissible because these other two men were cheating on me too, and I realized that that's not fucking okay. And so I completely blocked my fuck buddy on everything. We do not speak anymore, and me and my boyfriend, I decided to give that a real and genuine shot. So I aired out all my dirty laundry to him and worked through that, and he has accepted that because he also made mistakes in the past, and we are working to have a healthy relationship. I know that you guys told me to either have an open relationship or to break up with both of them, but I didn't see the podcast until today. So that is what has happened. Things are going really, really good with me and my boyfriend right now. I have been completely faithful to him, and from what I know, he's been completely faithful to me, and the trust issues are getting patched, and everything seems to be going great. So yeah, therapy is the answer, is the lesson learned here. Therapy is always the answer. Please do it. It's saved me so much heartache, so much headache, everything. It's amazing, and I love you guys. Thank you for the advice. I love you. Bye.
Yes.
Therapy
Everything, yes.
and communication, always the answer. If that's, those are like the takeaways that you should have from every show that we do.
Yep. Always, always, always. I love the enthusiasm for like and even just how you phrased. I can just tell we would get along. Like we would get along with her, and like then you're like, oh, I didn't realize that I was also cheating. Like I love it, and I know we gave you the advice to either be an open relationship or break up, but also sometimes we don't give like the best choice. Like I mean not that I didn't think it was realistic, but like that's so much fucking self-reflection that it's like, oh, fucking break up with the fuck buddy, get my ass in therapy and like work on my relationship, like be open and honest. Like, to be honest, that's like the best possible scenario.
Well, the person that told her to do that was like a professional, so.
Yeah, no, totally. And like I think that like that's the thing with like therapists as opposed to us is like, we're giving friend advice and that kind of stuff, but like a therapist can pick up, like knows you better, but also like wants you to be a better person. Like we just want you to be less shitty. You know what I mean? Like, but a therapist is like expects a lot of you.
Yeah, and they're gonna talk to you for like an hour. We're hearing a one-sided 3-minute it's not even a conversation, monologue about what's going on.
But I love this for you. I'm very happy for you. Happy for you. Happy you're in therapy. Happy you're loving it. And, very happy about the open honesty. And this is like the other thing for anyone listening who's like in a somewhat similar situation. In regards to cheating, I think it's so great that you owned up to everything and you guys talked about it. And that gives him the choice to make it, to decide that. And I think that's the most important thing.
He was cheating too.
Yeah. And he, I don't know how you knew. So like, I don't know if he told you or you found out another way, but I think that's like the mature and smart way that like your relationship can move forward and move on, because you're giving your partner information and hoping that they will want to stay with you, but not withholding it so you can ensure that they will.
Yeah.
So fucking great. Love it. Love this fucking self-growth. Well, that's it for our episode, guys. If you enjoyed and you want to leave us a review, go leave us a review on the podcast app or wherever you listen to podcasts, or wherever you watch. If you want to leave a comment on the YouTube, subscribe to this new channel where we're uploading. And if you want to call in for an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. And international listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. Quick reminder, our Facebook group is still closed to new members. And anybody who gets upset with us for being salty when you ask how to get into the Facebook group and we just say, you haven't listened to the end of the episode, That's why I'm saying it again. So you guys can know. And when we open it up, we will let you know. So you won't need to like go digging and trying.
Asking or anything. Yeah.
We're just, you know.
But you're probably going to need to listen to the end of the episode to know that it's open again.
It's constantly, I kicked out 10 people this week. So.
Not because they didn't listen to the end of the episode, but for other reasons.
Yeah, it's funny because when we closed the group, we were at 3,000 members. We're at 2,900 or 2,800
I think it's
now.
28. Yeah.
So we are cleaning house. So then by the time that we open it up again and you guys can join, it's, there's no one
safe as possible.
Yeah.
Safe space. I mean, there's still like people that don't comment and stuff, so we don't know their views until something sparks them to post or respond. So
yeah, I mean, we might go through and just delete people who have never posted to this day, because we only want people. It's a community, and that's like the great thing about it, and like how we know, you and me know people's names from this kind of stuff. And like, we know when someone's like talking about something on the group, and we can be like, oh my God, is this the person that you started dating this time? Like blah, blah, blah. Like we get to know everybody, and like people have become like close friends through all of that. And so that's, if you haven't known why the group is closed, it's because we're trying to make sure that it's, like you said, as safe as possible place for everybody, but also that it's the goal of being a community, not like a parasocial
message
kind of
board.
Yeah, or like it's not something that you should be able to just view in a way. And we understand that there's like a comfortability kind of curve of like, maybe it takes a little while before you start interacting or you start feeling comfortable once you like see what other people are posting and you see that you can like kind of trust the community. But then there's a threshold of that. So that's what we're working on. But you guys will be the first to know. And follow us on Instagram. Actually, Instagram might be the real first to know. Our personal ones. And Don't Blonde Meme Pod. Follow us on Twitter. Anything else? Vote, please.
Yes, vote.
And there's only one option who you can vote for. Vote for Biden. Anything else is a vote for Trump. And if you would like to argue with me on that, please head on over to my own personal DMs, but do not leave that shit here or on the podcast Instagram.
Also, like if you want to discuss this and you're in the Facebook group, please bring it up.
Fucking vote. Fucking vote. Okay. And that's it. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye. Don't Blame Me is a production by me, executive produced by Melissa D. Monts, edited by Katrina Henning, and music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso.
Listen closely as a master painter carefully brushes Benjamin Moore Regal Select down the seam of the wall. It's like poetry in motion. Benjamin Moore, see the love.
Listening to a podcast should be time well spent, and I promise it will be if you'll give this podcast a try. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in every episode, I talk with leading experts on topics I know you will find fascinating. From why people can't keep secrets, what your favorite music says about you, why your pet acts in strange ways, and so much more. Something You Should Know is designed to give you information you can use in your life and give you great intel that you can share with others. I'm told it's a binge-worthy podcast. And with over 1,000 episodes, there's a lot to binge on. Something You Should Know has been ranked in the top of the Apple Podcast charts consistently for a long time. I know you're going to like this. I just need to get you to try it. Something You Should Know. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, Now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone. So we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural Then and Now.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all, I'm JJ.
Hey, guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests to share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like, it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.